Hello everyone, this is Isabella with Angel Chantress Love. Today we will be doing a clearing on freedom from torture. I had a completely different healing session I was planning on doing this morning, but early in the morning my guides and angels woke me up and I had a very powerful pain in my fingertip, and it reminded me of someone's finger being cut off, like by the mafia or CIA, take your pick. And then that led me to think about a clearing I had done for myself many years ago, where a man ordered a psychic reading from me, and I had a really powerful reaction to his email. I felt like torn apart by it. And when I looked into it deeper, I not only discovered that he was a fallen angel, but I also discovered that he had been my executioner during one of my queen lives. So in that life, what I cleared was a beheading. And I remember the sensation was so powerful that I sunk down onto the ground in a crouched position and I was holding my neck. And it felt like there were a million ants crawling on my neck, and it lasted for about 3 days. So I started thinking about all the different energies over the years where we have tortured one another and how we need to clear that out of our energetic field at this time. So we are going to bring in some grounding and divine protection for emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual bodies. I'm calling on Mother and Father God, the guides, the angels, the ascended ancestors, and any galactic light beings desiring to assist us. We ask Gaia to purge, heal, and bring in divine light and divine blueprints to fill the space no longer occupied by these frequencies. And these new frequencies will be seeded into Gaia that anyone will be able to tap into who wants this healing. Akamane so iso teo akaneo e akamane so iso neo akaseane imanana eo seo ikanasahi alamaleo eo vana vana ve Alavalito eto tata mata me anamaneo io tata vatati enana ana 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 mana me alamalio eo vona ana vana e. So we ask that we are surrounded by divine protection and that there be no interference from dark forces. I'm already getting some throat blockages here. So let's just push those energies back. Akameo tia naka ana akati akafe ika ala vala aka ala e akatia ola ala seane sona mana ana mana e eo mio ona mana ana via we akanala ala teo e. And the other night I had a encounter with a demonic that was trying to block my throat chakra. And if you've ever had this experience, I've gone through it a few times where you're in a dreamlike state and you are trying to rebuke the energy that's coming at you, but you can't actually speak. It's almost like your lips are sewn shut. So I was like mumbling really loudly, and it was enough to wake me up. In the encounter, I was trying to scream, I am free, I am free, I am free. So the noise of me trying to yell in that dreamlike state actually awakened me, so I was able to bind and vanquish that demonic force. So anywhere where you're feeling blocked or restricted, let's clear all of that. And anywhere where you're not being allowed to speak your truth. Akamanito ekoseo ikanaka e akaneo ikamanana akavana e oviono ana ti ana meo naka ana e. And a few days ago I was shown a vision of a cave-like room with chiseled gray stone blocks. And there was a rough-hewn table and chairs around it. There was a gray, kind of saggy-faced alien with leathery, loose skin sitting at the table with a neck shackle and bound at the wrists. And I heard an enslaved race. So I did go ahead and clear that as well. So when I do these energy clearings, we're not just clearing for me or for you individually, but we're also clearing the family lineage. So anywhere where you've had any form of torture in your family's lineage, your ancestors, this will clear this out for them as well as for your descendants. And I also clear globally. So anyone on this planet, I set my intention that it will clear all of us. I also set my intention that it will clear galactically. So the guides and angels are always working in the background to help shift all of these races across all dimensions. So we are liberating across time, space, dimensions, realities, and planes of existence, healing individuals, family lineages, global and galactic. So be it and so it is. What's a mea te unuka ava aka e komana aka ana ana aka mana e komio ana ana aka veo e katuna aka ana anta aka naka e ovika naka ana ana aka e omika nala ala ala sikane o kaneo tio naka ana aka e kamana aka ama apa aka e. Okay, so as I was kind of researching the different types of torture that have happened, there was so much stuff that came up. So what we're going to do is, this isn't necessarily going to be in a specific order. I just kind of typed up some notes on what different types of tortures there were. And at the end, we'll also clear anything else that I didn't mention that the guides, angels, and ascended ancestors want cleared at this time. So one of the things that came up was loyalty bonds, where I saw someone with a briefcase in their hand, and the hand was cut off in order to steal the briefcase. And then I also saw a metal cage from one of my lives where I was inside of it, my full body, and hung over a fire or a volcano. So any kind of sacrificial energies. Sometimes there was an appeasing of the gods, so people and animals would be sacrificed. So let's clear all of that as well. Ekamia anavana anaveoti akaneo akanala aka ana anasi ekamio sanala ala eochi akanala teo tana manape ala peo tionoka ala kanola akachana akate io chokanala vala ala vaka vokanala ala akame kanoa aka ana akamana. Okay, let's clear any kind of government secrets, CIA, black ops, enhanced interrogation techniques, prisoner of war. Oche meo nukvate, akavana kahana ana akame, kanoa aka ana akacheane, ikachea nona ana aka ana kamona akavana aka katio okanala ala akachi, akacheane ka ala ekadiane, ala meo ikanala vala velevi, ala veo vi vana veo akameo itonoka aka ala akanio okanala ala akaseote. I'm getting the word talisman and marked for evil. So anywhere where there was some kind of a talisman attached to someone, or I'm also getting the scarlet letter branding to the forehead. Anywhere where someone was marked so that others would know. I think they did that for thieves and stuff too. So when they released them back out there, and maybe prison tats too, people would know what they had done. So let's clear all that energy. Ekasona eotio tana ti ala nana neo nana manami eo iko sana seotio ne akasia naka ana veo ikave ekaveo cheo chana ana cheo neo nana chana ana te ikonoa akavana vi akaveo kanala ala akana. Okay, let's do anywhere where the eyes were poked out and people were staked to the ground, left for the carrion. Drawing and quartering, burned, acid pit, snake or spider pit, stoning, stampede, elephants, ling chi, death by 1,000 cuts. boiled alive, rat torture, firing squad, lethal injection, gridiron, or disembowelment. O no ona venani ana veovia ana veovia ne okania tana nana ana mana me ana mia mana vana vi ana veo ikanala akanala e akasio no ka ana akamana e kochia no ka ana vakane akaneo akane Eotio nakanala nikane ana maka ana vakanala ala zona zana ana kachana chana cheo te akateo tio nuka ana vodka ne akaveo nikanala ala akanaka Oh, and it looks like I missed one in that group. Strapped as well. Okachea tanavana ekoviane okanela ala ekomino e. Okay, let's cover psychological torture, like white torture, blackmail, Chinese water torture, public humiliation, dunce cap, yardstick. You may have experienced that in school, depending on your age. Music torture, mock execution, forced nudity, solitary confinement, pharmacological torture, phobia torture, goes back to the like spiders and snakes, sensory deprivation, sensory overload, sleep deprivation, tickle torture, which we kind of consider funny at this point, but it was actually used as a torture device, triggering the body, and riding the rail. Osameatinova ata e kaneka akalala aka e kanio okanana ana akame okamea sakanala akanala e ekosio akanala ekonio e akamana akanaka aka ala aka e ekonio akanala ekonio e akavana vana e. I'm going to go ahead and open up my Cross of Light portal. It was gifted to me by Christ to send all these energies through back to spirit, back to source for clearing. And I'm going to activate my key decoder to break any seals or soul contracts or generational curses around this. And I recently did a video on sacred sounds channeling, which is a new technique I'm using. And the first one I did was generational curses, so you can try that as well. It doesn't have any words, it's just sound frequency clearing. Okay, there was something called a punishment of the sack, where a person was tied into a sack with multiple animals and then thrown into a body of water, and they either died from the animal attacks or drowning or both. Waterboarding as well. Akamana eto iko veo vakanala e akaveo katana akateo niko e akachio okanala ekaseama akamana akavana akaveo ikava eovikanola ala achamia atana ana teo mio anavana e Akameo ikanala akanala e chakamana aka ana ekotiane. Okaveo ikanala akanala e akamana ala ana vaka e. Let's cover corporal punishments like flogging, beating, branding, mutilation, blinding, stock and pillory, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, amputation, acid throwing, Ekamane ito ka anamane koti akamane ko eso niko anamane ko se akamane ko iso oka vaka vi akamane o manava ni akamane o eso no sa asama same akamane so iso no sa asama sami Asmane so eso ni so asamana e. Asmane so eso no sa asamana si. Asmane ko iko naka akamana te. Akamane ko ika naka akanaka e. Let's cover things like arranged marriage without soul consent, any kind of birthing, blinding, boiling, brazen bull, bone breaking, burning, foot whipping, impalement, Achameo tikanaka akavaka e ikavana aka ana akavana akavi akaveo itomona atamana te akamio navana vana eo io e akameo ikanala akanala e akaneo sikanala aka ana e ekosia naka ala ekonio e akamala aka ana akamana e. And I'm seeing the guides holding they're having me hold like a selenite heart in my right hand. And they're sweeping all of these energies out with selenite wands. Okay, let's cover castration, cement shoes, CBT, gibbeting, combing, crucifixion, crushing, and cutting. Akamanatika akaneka akamanatika ne akamanito teka naka akamane eto ti akanala veo vio akavana te akamane eko isonusa asamasa ti akamane eko iko naka akamana te akamana cheko iko naka akamana te. Ew, they just showed me like a insect being inserted into someone's ear. Yuck. Okay, let's clear that, as well as dehydration, denailing, disembowelment, disfigurement, dismemberment, drowning, and dunking. Akamane ito eko noko akavana vi akamane eko iko noko akamana te akamane eko sio noka asamaka ni akamane eo veo io vana eo vio e akamane iso eso noso osamana te akamane eko noka akamana mi akamane eko nova akavala e akavana eo eko vana akavana vi akavana eo iso mosa Samasami. Okay, let's clear emasculation, electric shock, eye gouging, force feeding, forced circumcision. Oche mio novata ito teo te akatio teo tana maka e ekomona akavana ekoviane akalala akanela ala aka e akachia akaneo okatana e katana maka ana akamio me akameo ikanaka apa aka e akaneo ikanaka aka ana e. Okay, let's clear hamstringing, helicopter position, human rights violations, immurement, keel hauling, and kneecapping. Akamate ko ka atamake to o akamito eko vona vaka atameka to akameto ika naka akaseo ika no eko niyo akaseo akasana akaso eko soma akasima akasema o akamiso kamaka aka asaneka o. Let's clear necklacing, oxygen deprivation, pitch capping, poisoning, prostitution, and rape. Ove dio kabana vana vekonio e akaveo vaka ana akaveo ikate akateo ikanaka aka akamana e eo mikamana ana vaka viote ikatana akamana akasio kaka e akaneko ikanaka aka ana akase ikamoka ana akamaka naka e. Okay, we're going to clear sawing, scalping, scaphism, SA, slavery, starvation, and Swedish drink. Ase mio navana anaveo e atamio e sanala ala seo tione akaseo nakavana akaveo ikane akaseo mikanaka ana akameo te akamio kazana zana zakaneo e akazio kazana zana zakamana e. Let's clear tarred and feathered, tooth extraction, trafficking, walling, water cure, and running the gauntlet. Obe diamaka ana akavana vanave akavana vanavekania akavana ve ekatio tana akamana ekotio te takanala ekania akanala aka ekomio akanala zala zeoni akavana ve via vana vanave akamio akanala sala seosi sana mana mi. And right before they had me do this video, they pulled up all the financial stuff too. So Anywhere where there was financial abuse or torture, like restricting access to resources, monitored spending, misuse of power of attorney, preventing access to credit, coerced debt, asset liquidation, theft, fraud, stolen inheritance, forced labor, including slave labor and child labor, preventing employment, workplace harassment, hate crimes, hostile work environment, gossip, slander, and lies, blocking educational opportunities, isolation from assistance, humiliation and shame, deprivation of necessary survival provisions, shelter, and medical care, debt accumulation from fees, destruction of credit, lack of employment history or poor history due to abuse and domestic violence. And all of these energies can happen like at a mental, emotional, physical level, as well as at a spiritual level through dark magic. So if anyone has done anything over your family lineage or yourself using dark magic to steal inheritances, to block your resources, to, make your car break down so you can't get to work, to make you late, even people who are like just being narcissistic and controlling will, maybe call you at work repeatedly and get you fired, or interrupt your day with some kind of drama where they think that whatever their need is more important than you earning the income or whatever. That constant interruption and interference there. Also, any kind of false rewards, like dangling a carrot in front of someone, sign-on bonuses, re-enlistment bonuses, bankruptcy, false insurance claims, embezzlement, fraud, abuse around taxation, retirement funds, Social Security, disability, pension plans, student loan debt, promissory notes, and bookies. Akamana chika naka eko okumana eko te akamana eko voka aka vaka ana e ikavana aka ana aka seo niko e akamana icho nosa asa masa nala e okamana eo iko mana akamana e. They're referencing isolating someone to the point where they're so far away from other people in community that could help them, but also too far away to get to work, not providing any kind of a vehicle or a means to travel to work. Anything like that is also a abuse and form of torture. Ekamana eso no ka osamana e akamana eo iko no akamana akane. I knew someone who was physically abused that her husband would lock every single paycheck she got. He would take it and lock it up in his gun cabinet and then would beat her. So anything like that, domestic violence. Akamana chiyo e kochona, or threat of life. Akamana e kosono sana maka ana e koneo e. It's all a form of like psychological torture. Akavana eo e kovona vaka ana vaka e koneo aka nala aka ana aka me. They're showing me someone who's been kidnapped, who's escaped and running through the woods as well. So any kind of thing like that, where thrown into a trunk of a car, or kidnapped on a walk, or home invasion as well. Akamane teo tio no kavana vana ve akaveo ikanasa asa asa meso e ikosona akaseo ikamana akaseo ikanala aka ana akase. They're also saying like promise of a better life. So immigrants and people who were secreted away and told that they would have a better life, but were sold into slavery or prostitution or whatever it was. Any kind of trafficking like that. Osamana akavio kavana vana ve kavana vana ekamia ana aka e ekosia naka ala ekochio e akachana ana aka mana e. Okay, so I am going to ask that the guides, angels, ascended ancestors, and any divine light beings that are assisting at the galactic level bring forward anything that has not been previously mentioned that would be of benefit for clearing at this time, individually, for family lineage, globally, and galactically. O se meo samana a, o se meo samana a, la meo iwana ana anavana a, eo meo ana cheo chio, akaneo sio mona akamana a, kameo ikan nala ala akamana a. They're showing me someone being thrown off of a plane. Akamio onavana vanaveo I toko nala ala chakaneo te akamio kanala akanala e. Oh, and any kind of vehicular damage, cutting brake lines, anything that would cause an accident or a disruption, or failing a business by sabotage of equipment or gas lines or anything like that. Akasiya no ka ana anaveo I akaneo I kasana sana mana e akinoa akanala ekonio e akachana ana chakanala e ekosio no ka ana akavana e kavana vana ana akavana e. Okay, let's do one final sweep with all the selenite wands. I'm going to call in the Archangel Gabriel, as well as myself and Thesputin, who's one of my galactic guides, and any other portal guardians who choose to assist at this time to collapse and close and seal all these old timelines that are no longer serving humanity or the galactic energies. O se meo sanana ana esamiono. Asameo itanala ana. Oh, I'm seeing quite a few dark force beings standing in these portal and timelines. So let's go ahead and push all of those out and back to where they belong, into their own space and their next level of healing and alignment with source energy. And then we'll close everything out. O kasana sana seo miko ne akaseo ukanana ana akaseo ne ikochana akanala e akanala vana ana akavana e. They're showing some voodoo, black magic. Ekachia nala ala medicine man. O kachea neona anavaka e akaneo kanala ala akanala e. Oh my gosh, they're showing like a, kind of looks like an Eskimo. I'm not getting that's quite right, but this woman is like pushing this baby in this hooded fur wrap under water, under like the lake where it's iced over. She's like created a hole and she pushes the baby under it so the baby can't rise back up. Something about threatening the family lineage. So anywhere where there has been torture of light workers, where they have been stopped, blocked, or dropped before they completed their mission. Let's clear all of that out as well. O se meo sanana, o se meo sanana, ana eo chio nana a eo via vana veo ikanala a seo niko samana akasea te kanala ala cheo nike. Akaseo ikamana akaveo e tiotona akamana ana akamana e. And any of these energies, you can rewrite the script. You can, whatever memories come up for you personally or because of your family's lineage, whatever the guide or the ancestors are showing you, you can switch the script on that. You can go back in and you can rewrite the script so that you or your ancestors or any enslaved races come out free and victorious from that. If you want to just mentally imagine that being rewritten for the light, you can do that as well to help these energies heal. Osamana eto uto voto atavana eto e ikavana eo eko neo akanala eko che ikanala eo ikanala akchana ana e ikanala ala eko nicho aka ana aka e. And there was a form of punishment where they threw people off of cliffs. I think there might be a country that still does that occasionally. So that one's coming up for clearing as well. Okavana ana eko vocha achapana ana che ikamana echo ochanaka anamana aka e. Okay, I am going to close the session here. I'm sure there will be more that will try to come through, but let's let the guides, angels, and ascended ancestors and galactic beings assist with that clearing, Please do be gentle with yourself. Practice radical forgiveness. Drink lots of fluids. Get plenty of rest. Breathe through any physical, mental, emotional, spiritual shifts that are happening. If you're feeling pain in your body, focus light there. You can place your hands on your body part that's hurting and just breathe through the pain. Ask always, always, always for the guides, angels, and ascended ancestors and galactic guides to help lift that off of you as quickly and easily as possible. When we're holding those traumas in our bodies, they have to come to the surface, and that can be painful. It can also be very emotionally disturbing. So if you feel like you're on a roller coaster ride for a while, just know that those energies will clear. I cleared a 7th generational curse in the family lineage recently, and when what the guides told me were the tears of the ancestors released, I wept off and on for like a day and a half. I felt like I was never going to come out of that energy. It felt so horrible, distressing, but I did come out of it. And oftentimes these energies, I'll feel fine at first, and then about a day and a half later, it will all just kind of hit me. So if you don't feel anything right away, just kind of prepare yourself for the possibility of all that clearing. You can ask for some of this to clear during your dream state with your angels so that you can process it a little easier. I'm asking that the body, mind, emotions, and spirit be protected as much as possible and shielded from as much as possible during this process as you heal and lift these energies off. So just remember to fill all of that vacant space, because the universe abhors a vacuum and you don't want any of this coming back. Fill it with light, fill it with love, fill it with divine blueprints that serve the highest and greatest good of all. Anameo, Yamanao, Anameo, let's ground in, Akamana, Akano, send it down into Gaia for healing, Akameo, Sionoka, Ana, Akamana, O, Ikachia, Ana, Akamana, O. And let's call back our soul fragments before we close too. So see yourself sitting inside a crystalline cave. We're going to ask that the fairies and angels go out across all time, space, dimension, reality, and planes of existence and retrieve our soul fragments from these events that have occurred either to us or we inherited from our lineage and it's still in our system. So whatever your ancestors didn't clear, it comes down through the DNA. So as you clear these things, the cleared energy will be passed down to your descendants. So it'll be a lighter load for them, hopefully. And let's just go ahead and keep shifting that out. I'm going to ask that the angels continue shifting this energy for as long as it takes. You can go and retrieve your own soul fragments yourself if you want to. I prefer to send guides, angels, fairies, animal spirits with a crystal to capture all of those fragments of the soul, because when you do it yourself, it can really cause a lot of dizziness and disorientation when you do that much time travel. So if you have them do it and just bring all those crystals back to the crystal cave, they'll place them in your cave, and then you'll see yourself sending the most appropriate angelic colored fire into those fragments to heal them before they are reintegrated, if they are reintegrated into your avatar. Otherwise, they'll remain in the oversoul. And that will happen in the background. You just set your intention for that. And then we're going to call on Metatron's cube. We're going to have Metatron bring that through. And we're going to ask that the golden light come from the great central sun into the top part of Metatron's cube and into the bottom part of Metatron's cube. We're going to call Sandalphon to bring up the crystalline grid for that, and the diamond white fire. And we're going to secure that grid in the center and circulate those energies throughout our physical avatar, our mental body, our emotional body, and our spiritual. Just ground yourself in. Keep that grid in place for as long as necessary, Spirit, based on the individual's needs. So be it. It is done. Sending you so much love and so many blessings.